Shop smart, shop S-Mart.
Ladies and gentlemen, start your engines as we dive into another episode of the New Book Who Dis. I am your host, Death Metal Hero, and with me is one of the first people I had on this show, Mr. Joe Catapano. What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Dude, doing great. How are you?
It's been good, man.
Years. It's been years since we talked. Yeah.
Yeah, man, it was back in them early days of this scene, man. Back when you were promoting the first Star Circuit book, while back.
Yeah, dude, I wasn't gonna wear my hat backwards, and then the intros popped, and
Hey, man. Well, the way I say it, be comfortable on the show. We're just a couple of nerds in a comic shop hanging out. That's the way I like to look at it. This is a very, very low key, no pressure show I like to run here.
It was funny to me because I did it with like instinctually.
Yeah.
Didn't choose to do it.
You roll how you roll how you comfortable, man. That's right. That's the way it should be.
Are you still rocking a mohawk these days?
Oh yeah. No, it's really long now, so I keep it pulled back. But yeah, the mohawk is actually about a foot tall now, off the top of my head.
It's legit.
Oh yeah. Legit. As a matter of fact, the last time I had the mohawk up, I think it was when I was down in Orlando for MegaCon in 2023. I was doing interviews. That's actually kind of what got me started doing interviews again, and also like live, in-person interviews, and kind of got me on this path. We were talking backstage. The book that I'm currently working on, I interviewed the publisher that I'm currently working with, and started discussions about working with them, and now I'm penciling and inking a comic book.
That's like one that's incredible, but that's awesome that your mohawk led you there. It was like, it's like Toucan Sam, but it's your mohawk.
Yeah, follow the hawk. I mean, and the funny thing about having the hawk up while I was at the convention is, like, people would walk by and they'd be like, "Is it real?" Yeah, it's real. I grew it myself. It's all real, all natural.
Yeah, I did a mohawk back in the day. I knew I was going to be balding at some point. I was like, dude, I need a mohawk. So I did it in college for a while. It was nice. It was fun.
Yeah, I love my mohawk, man. I mean, obviously, I've made it part of my logo, so it's kind of part of my brand at this point. Yeah, might try to rock the hawk at Heroes Con. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna have my own table, so I might actually have the space to do it this time.
Yeah, that way you don't hit anybody when you turn. Yeah.
Well, see, that's the thing. I probably poked out a few eyes the last time I was like walking around the packed MegaCon floor. But I love the hawk, man. I gotta get. Oh, see, felines follow the hawk here. Thank you, baby. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you gotta hire a couple people to work as like wide load type of. Beacons.
Pointy hair coming through. Look out now. Yeah. It's No, I'm thinking I might have to. I gotta get the blue put back in. As you can see, the blue is kind of faded, but probably gonna do that. But let's go ahead and say hi to the chat. We got Mr. Matt Kevlar. He says, "When is this happening?" And Vosto came in and said 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Thank you, Vosto. I appreciate that. Matt appreciates that too. Just saw it. And there's my lovely lady, Skull Feline. Good to see you, beautiful. Appreciate you dropping that link so people can see the hawk in all its glory while I was interviewing. Hey, walking around at that convention, I interviewed Andy Kubert with that mohawk up, and interviewed Ryan Stegman and other people, Mirka Andolfo.
Like?
And they seem to dig it, man. You know,
I can see Stegman liking it. I don't know about Kubert, but
oh yeah, well, Kubert, man, I had a great conversation with him. I interviewed Jim Shooter with that hawk up.
I mean, I can see him like being not so nice about it, but
he was great, man. We had a fantastic conversation about the industry and how indies push the medium forward.
That's true.
Let's see. So Vosto says, "Hey, good Joe and Death Metal Hero. What's up, Vosto? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate you being here." He says, "Star Circuit rocks. Yes, indeed. It's a beautiful book." Morb357. What's up, Morb? This is actually the writer on the book that I'm penciling and inking, Mercenary Guild. So he's the one that came up with the characters and wrote it. So yeah.
I love when you meet like creators and their collaborators, because it's like a family. You're like,
hell yeah, man.
Yeah,
it's good stuff. I mean, I always say this. There is an exorbitant amount of talent over in this indie scene, and just more and more people discovering that they want to make comics, and they're good at it, man. What's up, Oliver? Good to see you, brother. Oh, that's the link with Brian. Thank you. Yeah, so this link that Feline posted is my interview with Brian from Shattermare Comics, indie publisher out of Jacksonville, Florida, and who I'm currently working with. Both Morb and I are working with to publish Mercenary Guild. So, cool. Yeah, man.
Yeah, that book sounds cool. I like that title.
Yeah.
I mean, it's straightforward, but I got a feeling like, is there a pun in there? Is there like a...
No, it's just a straightforward sword and sorcery type book in the vein of Savage Sword of Conan. Morb actually created these characters about 30 years ago or something like that.
Wow.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Morb. They were in online forums. The old RPG forums that you type stuff into rather than having like a GUI. And it wasn't a video game. It was like had to actually write stuff out. So these characters are old school. Yeah, word balloon filler inners. Yep, that's exactly it, buddy. You just keep on filling in them word balloons, or you keep giving Eric Weathers the words to put in them word balloons.
Yes.
So yeah, we got Eric Weathers to do the lettering for us, which is awesome. Looking forward to that.
Beautiful. Keep them working for the good people. Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. He's the busiest letterer in comics right now, I think, especially this indie scene.
Dude, it's incredible because you wouldn't think the lettering job would be somebody would just be the guy for that. You know what I mean? It happens a lot for cover artists,
Right.
Letter, it'd be the last one. It'd be just as weird to have like one editor that edits everybody's book. It's
right. Yeah, I mean, and the thing about it is most people don't even, most people that don't know, that aren't currently working, with a letterer or have done the research and realize how difficult it can be to, properly letter a book. Because when a book is improperly lettered, it'll take you right out of the story. It can really kind of bring the story down. But
yeah, the tricky
when you
part,
have a good letterer. Yeah.
I was going to say the tricky part that because I lettered my first book, Star Circuit, and then gave Eric my lettered book and be like, I tried. It's pretty good. I like what I did, but make it awesome. And
I'm happy with what I did, but I know you know this better. So, work the Weathers magic and make it awesome. Yeah.
So this time I may actually try again and maybe just get him to consult and like teach me a little bit more things. But maybe we'll see. I might just have him do the whole thing. But
right.
What I was going to bring up is like lettering is weird because you think you have it, like because the basics are pretty cool, but lettering is like circumstantial. It's like depending on what's art that's on the page. So you might never run into this one instance where you have to do some tricks. And then it finally shows up, ruins your book because no one got that page, and that's what you got to make sure,
Well, when laying out a page, you got to make sure that the visuals flow, narrative wise, but with the word balloons, you got to make sure that the words flow, whether there be narrative or the characters speaking, it's got to make sense, with the directions that we read. I've obviously, manga reads backwards because they read from right to left instead of left to right. And that, if you're not used to that, that can cause, havoc. So understanding and being able to follow the word balloons along can help people, read through the page. And, if panels aren't clear, from what panel you're supposed to go to next from, the previous one, the word balloons can help, so it all comes together. It's I always like to say comics are a beautiful kind of alchemy when they come together. When they work properly, they're fantastic.
It's very interesting because it's like that almost with every part of the pipeline. It's like when you're looking at you're pretty much, how do I get the book to read like seamlessly, and where it's one of those things where if you don't screw up, nobody notices, but you only notice the mistakes, so
yes.
So it's interesting how any part of the process you're looking to like find the better flow. Like if the art doesn't do it, have the colors help. If that doesn't do it, have the letters help. If that doesn't do it, you might have to like come up with some other technique. But another little side thing that I heard about lettering is, I guess there's the old school ways to make the letters blend into the background, not blend, but like not distract from the art. And so, so that's an interesting point, and that I probably didn't get. And one of the things that I think Eric Weathers fixed was probably pulling away some distracting letters.
Oh yeah, they've got to fit with the book and with the art rather than be on top of, because sometimes you look at letters and they feel like they're just kind of slapped on top of the artwork, or they're placed in an awkward position and it doesn't really work with the visual flow of the page. Making sure the letters actually fit with the images that you're putting out there. And I mean, you being the writer and the artist on Star Circuit, you can make sure that the page is set up so there's space for it. I've seen some pages that just don't even take the letters into account. They fill up that whole panel, and suddenly you've got a word balloon that's covering up a part of a character, or biting into their face or something like that. And it's like, they didn't plan this out, did they?
Yeah, so. It's very interesting. I think one year I saw Shane Davis at New York Comic Con, and that was one of the critiques he gave me back in the day was, leave some room. Like he recommended a book that was all about it, or like a PDF. I forget what he recommended something, and it helped. It's almost, if you want like an easy way to do it for beginners, is just like chop off a good quarter of the top of the panel, no matter what, and draw from there and keep your characters within that. And it's almost like a letterbox or like a guide within film gates and stuff.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally
similar.
Got to leave the headroom. And you can also use that spacing to lead the eye to the next panel. Leading to the next page. That kind of thing. Framing from movies actually can be really helpful when setting up shots for the comic. So I totally agree, man. And
for sure.
These are all things that you have to think about while you're making the book, the story, and getting the characters to look right. Is making sure that they look like they're in proportion and perspective and everything like that, but also got to compose the shot so it's interesting and visually stimulating. Got to leave room for the word balloons. It's man. It's a lot, but I love it, man. It's so much fun making comics.
Yeah, there's nothing like it.
There really isn't.
I like, while I'm doing it, I'm kind of like, I don't know. I don't realize it till retrospect. I'm like, man, it's been a great week drawing comics. And then I'm like, man, like doing it, I love the process, but it's only afterwards that I really, really like appreciate, the job.
Right. Yeah. Cause sometimes you're in the middle of it and you're like, oh God, this is taking forever. I'm liking the way it's turning out, but fucking hell. Yeah. So I've been there,
Yeah.
What's up, Michael? Good to see you, man. Thank you for being here. American Comics. Good to see you. Morb says this comic came from Borderlands, was born from AOL Parthos and Arena. I wrote a good section of the rules. There you go. So yeah, that's where Mercenary Guild comes from. So where does Star Circuit come from, man? And how long have you been drawing? Actually, first question. How long have you been doing this art thing?
I'm going to really try to make all these short answers because I can ramble. Short answer is I've been seriously drawing since I was like 23. So
nice.
13 years.
Excellent, man. And when did the idea for Star Circuit pop into your head?
We'll just say officially like 2016 because it was there lingering ever since I was a kid. Ever since I played F-Zero, and then probably just always wanted to do a sci-fi racing story ever since I played F-Zero when I was a kid.
F-Zero is one of the classics.
Yeah, it's incredible, and every iteration afterward, I'm still hoping for that F-Zero GX that was on GameCube to get remade, or not remade, but like even just a remaster, because I think any iteration, but the original with pixel art is great, and that's kind of what spawned
Mode 7 graphics.
Yeah, Mode 7. It's to us, it was pretty much 3D at the time.
Oh, yeah, it was totally 3D, man. I remember being blown away as a kid seeing F-Zero and Contra 3 and all the crazy shit they were able to do.
Dude,
Super Mario Kart even. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes I still jam out to Contra 3 sometimes. It's so
dude,
good,
it's a great game. My dad and I beat the original Contra thanks to the 30 lives code, up, down, left, right, left, right, BA, start. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking that code is forever burned into the back of my brain. I will never forget it as long as I live.
Shit. Speaking of, dude, my buddies down I live in Florida now, but a lot of my friends, we all went to college down here, and some of their, there was like one band that everybody kind of had ties to, like either a brother was in it or whatever. They called it the Konami code, as after the contract.
Excellent.
Anyway, the band's great. It's like metal, like a jazzy type of metal, progressive-ish type of metal.
Oh, that's cool.
Mixed with a lot of the, they'll pretty much they'll jam out after they play the melody a few times, and really great stuff. I
kind of reminds me of Cephalic Carnage. Yeah, please do. Yeah. I'm always looking for new bands, man. I love stuff like that. Yeah, Cephalic Carnage is a band that fuses. They do jazz fusion with death metal.
Hell yeah!
So yeah,
I'm a big jazz fusion guy. Yeah.
Yeah, they're out there, man. You might dig them if you've never listened to Cephalic Carnage.
I will look it up because I like a lot of different types of metal and punk and whatnot.
Same.
Yeah.
So where does so Star Circuit was born out of your love for F-Zero?
Originally, I'd say it's that's like the vibe. It's almost like this vibe of just in general wanting to see that come into a story form instead of just like an arcadey form.
Right.
And so after that, and then all the other influences of a lot of old school anime growing up, Cowboy Bebop and some Gundam stuff, and obviously Akira with the bikes. All those combined, plus my love of comics and a lot of influences there. I could name a million, and all of those tied together just produced Star Circuit. It was like it's unlike a lot of things out there because, one, because there's just not a lot of racing books. Period.
That's true.
And two, there's not a lot that combine the genres the way I'm doing it. But for that reason alone, there's just not a lot of racing books, and that deters some people. So it's really just like a story about like connections and man's quest for not being obsolete or retaining their relevance in the world. Man versus machine style, and the racing is just the stage for it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And
that's where the action comes in. It is a excuse the pun. It's a vehicle for the conflict to show itself.
Yeah, I would say because here's how a good way to say it is like because it's a mini series. Probably like it could be somewhere between 6 and 8 chapters, depending on how much I chunk it up.
Right.
But yeah, I would say a third or maybe 40% is racing. The rest is not. So almost the majority is things surrounding racing,
right.
like training, relationships, and that just tells you how much is really there. And if you're not into racing, you'll definitely still enjoy the book.
Yeah. What's up, Rex? Good to see you, man. Thanks for being here, bud.
What's up?
Yeah. All right, so let me go ahead and bring up the campaign here. While I do that, do you remember your first comic book? Do you remember what it was?
Man, I got a weird, like a real comic book, because I had a lot of strips as a kid, so I don't count those. But a real comic book. Yeah. I don't know if it was one of my first, but I remember getting one of the Joe Mad X-Men.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah, that was one of the first I saw, and it's really one of the ones that are, to me, it's the most memorable. Like, I don't think I do remember my actual first, because I never got to go out and buy. I like my family, we just weren't into comics, so like if I did, it would be me seeing my friends' comics, and those kind of blended all together because I'd have to like look through them all at the same time.
Right.
But the first one I got, like, I traded for. I might have even traded like video games for a bunch of comics. And
heck yeah, man.
Yeah, I remember distinctly. I probably have it somewhere. I got to remember the exact one, but I know it was Joe Mad.
Nice, dude. I loved his run on X-Men. Yeah. I was sad to see him leave X-Men, but I really enjoyed Battle Chasers that he went on to make after that. I remember when Cliffhanger, was the new hotness coming out of Wildstorm, and I will still never forgive Jim Lee for selling Wildstorm to DC, but that's neither here nor there. Battle Chasers and Cliffhanger, Danger Girl. I loved those books. Hell, I was even picking up, Crimson, which was Humberto Ramos's book, and that was the only one that came out on time on a regular basis.
So I didn't get any of that because, like I said, I wasn't able to buy as they were coming out. So I had no clue about that sort of thing. But those 90s books are top tier.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. I've been reading comics since I was a kid. My dad read comics when he was young, so he got me into comics when I was 3. I couldn't even read them yet, but I really wanted to know what they were saying, so I was very motivated to learn how to read. And my mom was teaching me how to read with flashcards, and cool. Batman, Spider-Man, and the Fantastic Four were the first three comics that I remember getting.
I couldn't. Those are great. Those are great 3.
It was old Romita Senior and Stanley Spider-Man books. They did these digest size, like Marvel Comics magazine or something like that, and they were great, man.
Beautiful. I'm going to be going through like the old stuff, because obviously the new stuff's kind of. It's mostly trash, but except for a few.
It's a lot of it is mid at best, and they were better storytellers back then. They knew how to tell a good story. They knew how to weave a yarn. They were, and I believe, and this is my personal philosophy, they were just focused on telling a good story. They were focused on entertaining the audience more than anything else. So I think that's why their stories, are timeless and resonate with people. And I feel like that's what a lot of people are aiming for over here in the indie scene now. They're trying to create, these timeless stories that people can go back to again and again and reread and enjoy.
I look forward to having, it'll be some sort of, I'll get all teary-eyed, and when I see, whoever, even if it's not my book, but Star Circuit, we'll just use an example. It's on the shelves, and you can just pick it up and read it in full. That's going to be a great moment. And for anybody out there who's writing or drawing, that moment you got to look forward to, because it's a long way there. Comics take a long time to make. So
yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. But once you can either, what is it Miyamoto said? I think it's Miyamoto that said this. A late game will finally be published. It finally comes out, but a bad game is forever bad. You know,
Yes.
so it's better to take the time to, and I'm sure I just butchered that quote, but it's better to take the time and make a good product that you put out and that you're proud of, rather than rush a product out and put out this half-assed thing that, you know, you're going to go back to later and be like, it wasn't as good as it could have been.
Yeah.
You know,
you have to curb that feeling, you know, like gotta keep, I'm actually putting out, because my YouTube channel is doing pretty well. I'm working on a lot of YouTube videos these days.
Nice.
And kind of batching them out instead of, I'm like trying to do it as much professionally as possible. But my new video is all about kind of, there's a lot of people like more on the slow workflow trend. And I've made a workflow for artists called the attentive workflow, which I break down in some videos. And it's essentially slowing things down, making like honing quality over speed, honing other things.
I'll have to watch that. That sounds like it's right up my alley, man.
Yeah, so it'll be great. These videos are gonna do well because I'm just getting better at like making thumbnails and making titles and, you know, getting views that way.
Well,
So,
from what
and
I
making good
understand.
videos.
YouTube really likes, you know, they either like really short videos that are about a minute long, or they like long form videos that have what they call evergreen topics, which are tutorial videos, things that teach people how to do things. And those videos are really popular. You know, I mean, hell, I know that when I'm sitting here drawing, I'm listening to tutorial videos about how to do this, that, and, you know, everything else. So, you know, I think that is accurate.
I have an example of both on my channel of what you're talking about. But I aim for a 10-minute video actually right now. What I've been doing, you might want to use this trick. The trick I'm using is I make the long form video that's maybe 40 minutes, and then I chunk it up into like a few 10-minute ones. And then now you have it in parts. Now you have it like in little chapters, and it kind of makes your channel a little bit like binge worthy, if you know what I mean.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Yeah,
you
we'll have to try that actually.
Yeah, I'm trying it for the first time. I'm going to see how it goes. But my 10-minute videos, as long as I don't bore you, they turn out pretty good. So
excellent. Well, speaking of videos, let's go ahead and watch your trailer here for the book.
Welcome to Colony A.2.1. Here, a vast network connects the minds of each member of the populace, delivering endless entertainment. Augmentally custom made for each individual member, free of charge. It's the cornerstone of modern life, a perfect system. That was until a street racer named Atlys Metric caused a glitch in this flawless system. It went undetected by the system admins, but now has the attention of a nefarious power who will do whatever it takes to retrieve the cause of the glitch. Atlys, now relentless android assassins have been dispatched to capture him. In order to escape this threat, he will need to overcome the impossible, with the glitch in tow. But hey, impossible is just something losers say when they've given up, right?
Bitchin'. I like it. So, who did your video for you?
yeah, it kicks ass. It's Ted Zagaro who did my first one as well.
Awesome. Hell yeah. Ted does good stuff, man.
Yeah, love Ted. I'm glad he hasn't been doing a ton of things for trailers for books recently, and so I think he's working on other cyberpunk projects, so he's just like in the mood to do another one. So I was lucky to get it.
Excellent, man. Yeah, that's awesome. I love a good trailer. Honestly, I don't know. I've heard that there's a lot of people are like, yeah, I don't even watch the trailers anymore. I'm just like, but why? You know, it gives you a feel for the book. It gives you the flavor. You know,
vibe,
yeah, it gives you the whole vibe of the book. I mean, I love trailers. I mean, I cut together a trailer for a little teaser trailer for Mercenary Guild. You know, I don't know about you, but I find video editing fun. It's tedious as all hell, but I have fun putting it together. It's fun, having that final product and like hitting those story beats that you're trying to get through, but it's time consuming.
It's kind of like fun until it's not for me. You know what I mean? It's kind of
Yes.
like I really, really enjoy it. I'm like, man, this is awesome. Got the music going, got this going, got some transitions. Yep. And the next thing you know, you're like, I think I'm over it right now.
I think I'm done with this. It was fun for a little bit. Now I'm just ready for this thing to be over.
Yeah, that's how you know you shouldn't do it professionally. But yeah, just doing your own stuff, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, I'll probably hire an editor for YouTube if it ever starts producing some decent, like ad revenue or something. But that'll be perfect because then I'll be able to make the videos without doing the,
you just make the content and have somebody else edit it together. I mean, that's what all the big YouTubers do. They have somebody edit their shit for them. And
it's better to set that up small than wait till you get too big and now you got to figure it out with a bigger scale. You start doing that earlier on if you can, because it costs money, obviously. But it's then you get in the flow of because I don't know how it is, but like I'm a control freak, so like trying to like write this down into words what I want is harder than you think because I'm used to just doing it myself.
Yeah, no, I actually very much relate to that thought process. I can see it in my head, but then translating that out to like actually writing it out so it makes sense to somebody else. I don't know about all that.
Yeah, it's tough, man.
I'll just I'll just do it myself. Never mind.
I'll let you know how. I'll let you know how it goes when I try it. We'll see.
Please do, man. Yeah. Please do. Thank you, Feline, for dropping the link for this book. It's a beautiful cover, man.
Thank you.
And you got Marcos Martins doing your colors. Is he doing the book for the interiors, or doing the colors for the interiors of the book as well?
Yes. I'm a huge fan of having the cover artist and team be the main cover artist.
Yes.
I think it's like, to me, otherwise it's like a misleading sell. You almost like, even if you know it up front, you almost get disappointed even if you know, because it's just, it's the same thing as like if, I don't know, like all your spines and all your books are different. It's like, just makes them not so cohesive and
It's going to drive people's OCD through the roof.
Yeah.
All those different spines. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree, man. I agree. It's kind of almost like a bait and switch. Like the main cover should be the team that's actually working in the book. That way, what you see on the cover is what you get inside. You know what I mean? And then you'd have a cool variant cover, And speaking of cool variant covers, god damn, Rob Willis just fucking killed it on this piece.
Yeah.
That's just insane.
It blows my mind. Just what he turned in. We went back and forth a little bit to try to get, because sci-fi, you kind of have to be specific to,
right.
Like he turned in a little bit of things that were a little off and now it had to, curb them back to like what it should be. But he's just really good at like anatomy. He's good at like energy with his line work. And it's perfect for this kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a hell of a lot of energy and power, especially in that stance on this guy up in the front, man. I mean, just damn.
Yeah.
And then the perspective, not just of the guys on the. I'm guessing this is like the track here.
It's actually a high-speed train. Yeah.
Oh, okay. It's a high-speed train. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So the guys on the train, just the perspective on these guys, but then all this up here. Like, this kind of thing is one of the things that I love the most about cyberpunk is just like these sprawling, just metropolises, whatever.
One of
all these buildings that just, the scale of them just, leaves you in awe. So yeah, this is a beautiful cover, man. But you got two great covers.
I mean, we lucked out. Well, not luck, but we worked it out because it took work to for both of them. Because I had to, it does take work to find the right person for the right job. At least for me,
sure.
That's how I approach covers. It might be people do it differently, but I don't give a blank when I look for a cover artist. Mm-hmm. Let's just say, because it took me a long time to get a cover. Like it took me months because I had people bail on me, people take on.
No.
I lost money with a lot of people because It's weird how this all works, but
yeah.
The thing is,
unfortunately, it's not an uncommon thing. But go ahead, continue.
You're right. Yeah, I was like, essentially every time I commission someone, I rewrite a new cover for the specific artist. That's how I work. So,
makes sense.
Yeah, like Rob gets this cover. Someone with a more ethereal, surreal style, I would give him a totally different. If I gave some and Jetty, he would get something totally different than what I described here. You know what I mean?
You choose an artist based on their style, for the type of feel and vibe that you're going for. I mean, that absolutely makes sense. I think it's a great way to do it.
So I was like, man, I need. I was doing pretty much. I have a hero and a villain cover, so that's kind of the approach here. And I really dig that. I made the colors to be sure to reflect that as well.
I was about to say the colors on this one definitely say villain, bad guy. And this is because this is bright, this is cheery. Obviously this is your main character right here, but bright, happy colors. Movement, and then this is ominous and kind of evil looking, especially with like the dark colors, the purples and whatnot. And that hand. As a bad guy hand, if I ever seen one.
Yeah, you don't get more bad than that hand, dude. Both the hands. That fist too is.
Oh yeah.
A death clench.
It is indeed. But yeah, the great covers, man. Beautiful looking book. Mm-hmm. So script and layouts are 100% done, and you're currently working on the pencils and getting the flats and the colors done as well. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm mostly concerned with the pencils, and that's kind of my job anyway. So as long as they're good, I feel way more confident. Yeah.
Now you're going directly from pencils to colors, right? You're not even doing the inks.
That's right.
Nice.
And they're digital now. So the first book wasn't digital, but since they're digital, it's just even more of an easier transition. Yeah, cleaner. I'm flatting as well, but flats are quick. It's weird because once you start doing sci-fi, you almost have to. At least for me. There's so many like little weird things in the background. Flatters just don't know what they are, and I learned the hard way that I usually have to spend an hour correcting flats if I don't do it myself.
Ooh. Yeah, no, better to go ahead and do it yourself then. Flats are one of those things that if you can turn your mind off and just kind of go through the tedium. Obviously you've got to be aware of what you're flatting, but at the same time, being able to just go through and just like embrace the tedium of the flatting and then just get it all done. I mean, once it's done, it definitely helps. Yeah,
I usually save it for my end of my day or whatever, where I'm like I'm burnout already with like whatever I was doing, worked too hard, whatever I had to do in the real world has also burnt me out. And now if I want to work more in the comic, it's an easy sell to go in there. Just go in there and trace stuff, like lasso things together. Yeah,
just go ahead and cut it out and put a little color in there, a little splash of color. Yeah. Now, are you a music person while you're working? Do you listen to podcasts? Do you listen to audiobooks? Because I usually love to listen to audiobooks when I'm working. I mean, not when I'm laying out pages, because that's the mental heavy lifting. I like to have music playing when I'm doing that kind of thing. But when I'm inking a page, for instance, I love to throw a good audiobook on and just go to town.
That's great. I think I have the least amount of success with audiobooks because I just get too into them. Like even if I'm doing something low key with my art, I don't, and something I can put on the back burner, I still end up like going way too much into the book. So podcasts work. I listen to a ton of. We're on your show. I'm usually jamming out metal and just like going hard the whole time, penciling. Dude. That's generally what I do. I'd say that's generally what I do if I want to be the most efficient, and like if I want to if I want to have a day where I like finish the page for sure, it's music all the way.
Right on. Anything in particular that you've been listening to recently that's just kind of been on repeat for you?
Yeah, somebody showed it to me a long time ago, but it's like it's kind of like it's like a mathy hardcore band called Botch. Do you know Botch?
No, I don't. But I like mathy hardcore. There's a band called Fractalize that is kind of in the vein of Meshuggah.
Yeah.
It's
in that realm. So Botch is like it's in there.
BOTCH.
Yeah, BOTCH. There, I just listened to, and I just found them maybe a few months ago, but now they're on repeat, and they only really have one album, a full LP, and it's just a classic. I think people, if you go to like the forums, they'll say it's like one of the founding albums that pushed that kind of subgenre.
Nice. Okay,
so it's
I
really
gotcha.
Good.
Fractalize is like that. If you like that kind of stuff, that kind of math metal type thing, Fractalize. You should definitely check out. I think you'll dig that.
Heck yeah, writing it down.
Awesome, I love discovering new music. It's fantastic. Speaking of fantastic, look at these pages, y'all. Look at this. Look at these gorgeous pages.
Yeah, a lot of good
layouts,
stuff.
Man.
Yeah, these pages turned out great. I think for one, because they're pages that I've been wanting to draw since I came up with the concept of Star Circuit. It's, you know what I mean? Like, you make that premise and you're like, now you're waiting to be able to draw those pages because it doesn't always come up right away. First, you have to go through the introduction and you have to get to the point where you can actually show some of the goods. So yeah, that's kind of.
What's up, Jason? Good to see you, bub.
Jason, dude, I need to read your book because not that I shouldn't have already, but frickin' Adam Lawson is like throwing you, high praise over there, and not that adds anything because Adam's really a good guy, but I trust.
He's got good taste.
Yeah, he's got good taste, and I trust Adam. But like I said, it's just because I haven't been around too much with every book in the indie scene, entirely. But do you
There's
still
a lot
sell?
of them, man.
Yeah. Is Absolute still sold right now?
I think he closed out One Stormy Night the other day. Yeah. It was supposed to be a quick campaign.
Okay.
But if you hit him up, you might be able to get a little something. Just message him. Can't guarantee anything. I don't want to speak for Jason, but send him a message. See what he's got. He might have
market.
Yeah. Well, hey, sometimes if you miss a campaign, if you reach out to a creator, you can be like, "Yo, I missed the campaign. You got any left?" You may not be able to get like all the perks, but you might still be able to get the book.
Yeah, sometimes they're like battle damaged,
Yeah, because you got to order, over order enough to cover damages and stuff like that. And if all the books make it to their destination without being destroyed, then you got a few extra copies that you can, sell on the aftermarket.
Oh yeah. Well, his book looks great. Thanks for saying the sweet words, bro.
And you can still pick up Frog G, Voodoo Gods and Magic, which he and Inkspots did. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, and with that, there's a bunch of cards. Hockey did a card. I believe Dan Plegel did a card, and I did a card for him as well.
Yeah,
so they got.
I think I only seen Dan's. That's good.
Yeah. It's that book is going to be fantastic. I can't wait for that one.
Sweet. Yeah,
you got some amazing perks on here, man.
Yeah, dude. I put together some fun, just simple perks. Like my first campaign was all out, like every tchotchke ever, and this time I was like, let's pull it back a little bit, focus on the book as much as possible. But it's simple is great because then you end up with a system where everybody gets what they want no matter what. And so here I have, you can get either cover of the main chapter or the main chapter for this campaign, chapter 2. Or you can go from the beginning, which is the feature perk, and get chapter 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean that's a great deal for the featured perk there. Get both books for $40.
Yep, and you get the nice sleek new black cover for Star Circuit 1.
Nice. Okay, so that's a different cover than the first book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
So it's a reprint because we're sold out. So
that's what you like to hear, man. You love it when stuff sells out. And I'm of the opinion that reprints should have their own cover. You know, if it's a second printing, I definitely think that it should have its own cover. That way, you know, the people that were able to get in on the ground floor, they have something unique. It's a first printing, and then, you know, it gives the completionists, the collectors, because let's face it, you know, we're comic nerds, we're collectors. We like to collect different things, and you know, sometimes we want all them covers, you know, completionists. So it gives them something to collect as well. You know, and I like that. I think that's a good thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I have no. I agree with everything you said, and also, I mean, in general, like if you add additional reprint, or you know, if you're reprinting, or if you're just collecting, sometimes you're compiling, which is something I plan to do. I'm going to put a new cover when we make a volume. You know what I mean? Combine some covers together, and get a nice new cover. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So you got you got patches. Nice.
Yeah.
It seems like it's kind of seemed like, you know, patches were starting to go the way of the dodo on campaigns, man. But I like it as an add-on perk. You know, some people aren't all about the patches, but I do like patches. I've got a collection of them to put on a comic book specific battle vest to take to conventions. So that's cool, man. I just got Jawbone Death from speaking of Adam Lawson. I haven't opened it yet. I'm going to reach out to Adam, see if he wants to come hang out for you know, what's in the box. Always fun talking to Adam. But I got the Jawbone Death patch, so I'm looking forward to putting that on the vest. Man, look at that. So you did the main cover as an original piece.
Yeah. Yeah. So I love working traditional. Like I only do the digital thing for a little bit more speed, a little bit more cleanliness.
Right. Well, it's easier to iterate with digital pencils. You know, you can fix things, you can adjust things. What I like to do, what I'm doing with our cards for Mercenary Guild is I'm penciling them digitally, getting editorial notes, you know, whatever needs to be fixed, and then going to blue line them and print them out and then ink them traditionally. That way we have original art to sell in the campaign.
Yeah, best of both worlds there, man. Yeah. And even for pencils, I treat pencils like inks because as far as like cleanliness goes. So I do the same thing.
I can tell. I can tell, man. That's awesome.
I go for the same approach of, you know, like really cool digital layouts and then multiple passes, and you'll see this on my new YouTube videos. But yeah, the more passes, the better.
Good to see
Matt
you,
Ruth.
brother. Welcome, what lead do you use? Do you use a harder lead or do you use a softer lead?
More hard than soft for sure. And so.
But I'm jing. Oh wait, I have something for that. Hang on. There we go.
That's right. So, but recently my process is my evolution of penciling is evolved, and so I'm using a combination now of 5H, 2H, and HB. Yeah.
So wow, holy shit, man, you weren't kidding. I use F, which is slightly harder than HB. But I like the way that it you know, I can get a dark enough line to where I can see it. Sometimes when I'm using like the harder leads, like I guess I push too hard or something like that, and I end up like grooving the page. Yeah. And you know,
that can happen a lot of different ways. I mean, the hard leads are good. I use them just to layer. So not layer necessarily detail, but layer like underdrawing more finished stuff. And then,
okay, I got you.
And then even at the very end, I don't know if you've ever seen my Goats Rider piece I did for Nefarious, but that piece I started even go beyond. I think I probably took like a B, somewhere in the B lead range, and I did some contours, some like comic book thick contours around characters and stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
It popped everything like tremendously. So I'll probably be doing that in the future as well.
Okay. Very cool, man. I love seeing stuff like this, you know, the shadows being laid in. And I always wonder, you know, because, you know, the softer the lead, the easier it is to accidentally smear it when you like get your hand, because, you know, always end up with the pencil lead all on the backside of your hand.
Dude, most of my amateur years were just black-handed prints everywhere on accident. Yeah, but hard lead keeps. I mean, you can still smudge hard lead, but it keeps it to a minimal problem. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, a lot of studies from pencilers to like try to figure out what really works, and I might even do like a penciling.
You should, man.
I feel like I need to do a video on. It's like aesthetics of pencils or something. It's like there's a certain way to make pencils look better than if you just go for a whatever approach. Anyway, right. I feel like that would be a good video because I don't think I've seen anything like it. At least what I'd be talking about, I don't think I've seen anywhere. You never know, though.
Well, I mean, I always say, man, make content that you would watch, make content that you would find interesting, and chances are, you'll find an audience out there that is also interested in it. Because people are always information, man. The internet is the wealth of human knowledge, and YouTube has a lot of that in video form. So I mean, sharing information with people. It's one of hell. I've learned so much from YouTube. It's ridiculous. I don't even really watch real TV anymore. I don't think, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah, same. I don't think I have. I mean, except like a holiday or something, watch a game or
right.
Something, yeah.
I mean, every now and then, like when I go visit Feline, we'll watch a show. She'll be like, "Hey, I want to check out this new show," and I'll watch a show with her. But otherwise, I mean, I don't really watch anything. I've been watching the new X-Men '97 cartoon.
Nice, I've heard good things.
I tell you what, dude, I was super skeptical about it, and it actually has been pretty damn good. I've been pleasantly surprised.
That's good. Yep. I've heard mixed. Like, obviously, some people really love it. I think Sontag was a really good proponent for pushing the positivity of it.
Yeah.
For me. But, there's tons of people that kind of were hesitant and then also saying it's not that great. I think Camel Moon was dogging on it a little bit. But,
well, I mean, the animation looks pretty slick. There's... they take some liberties with characters' powers, which being an old school comic nerd bothers the shit out of me. But those are minor quibbles of what is overall a pretty decently done show. The showrunner is one of the people that was originally working on X-Men back in the day. So he's familiar with the characters. He knows how to and they're compelling stories. Honestly. It's a lot darker than the original animated series. I will say that. They're
deeper, darker subjects.
Well, yeah, they went into like Genosha and stuff like that, and it's definitely not the Saturday morning cartoon fare. It's definitely a little darker. I mean,
it's like HBO
people die.
Style.
Yeah. Yeah, they're not swearing or anything like that, but they're it's definitely you get the point of there are real stakes involved with these characters. So
well, I hear Cyclops gets some of his due, so I'm stoked for that.
Oh yeah, he's not Cryclops in this in this series so far. So yeah. Yeah, but that's about the only show that I've been watching recently. But yeah, it's mostly YouTube. So yeah, getting back to our original point, yes, you should make that video because making content that matters to you, it'll matter to other people out there in the world as well. Because that's what the audience wants. They want stuff that resonates with them.
Yeah, hell yeah to that because it almost is I have too many ideas is sometimes the problem.
It's the curse of being a creative individual, man.
Yeah, the Elon Musk problem is what.
Yeah, well, I mean, we all have ideas, and obviously you're getting one of them out into the world, and I just want to say, holy shit, to this original art right here. I mean. The color version is fantastic, but damn,
dude, it's even more mind blowing in person.
Oh, I bet
it's out of control. It's for sale. So like anybody that wants to be the savior to the campaign and wants to get the book funded right now, it's a lot of money, but it will be the savior of the campaign.
Yeah. I mean, it's worth every penny of that too. I can only imagine the detail and shit up here because this is all line work. He's not using gray tones or zipatone or anything like that. This is all Rob's tedious line work, and it's fucking gorgeous. And I'm constantly blown away by that dude. Like, holy hell.
Yeah, I mean, I really like most of his work. I've heard some bad things about his sequentials. For some reason, people dog on that, but I don't know why. I think maybe perspective or some issue or something that he's got. But I think as for a cover artist, I think you can't find anything better. Almost. No, it's very.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sequentials are not an easy thing to do, especially I feel like it's mostly because it requires consistency and, constantly doing it. I mean, pinups are, you do it, it's one and done. There's a lot of storytelling that can be done with a pinup. I mean, obviously, look at this, but, sequentials, they're not as easy as people like to make out that they are. You know full well.
Absolutely,
yeah.
It's iteration upon of layers and storytelling and fixing and editing and tons of things.
So, So I've seen some of Rob's sequential pages, and I honestly don't know what people are talking about.
Okay, I haven't, so I'm just taking them on their word.
Yeah, no, I've seen some of Rob's sequential stuff. I don't know what people are bitching about. Sometimes people like to bitch just to bitch. I'm just gonna say.
Yep.
All right, so we got stretch goals here, mobile wallpaper, colony map, digital download. So is that like a 3D map that people can spin around?
It'll actually be old school transparency, like in those old Discovery books.
Nice.
Layers.
Okay.
Yeah, layers of this city. Yeah.
That's fucking rad.
Yeah, so it's kind of useful because the city is just a layered thing. If you look at it just with, if you had just one layer, it would look just like a normal city almost. So that's why you need the layers.
Well, I mean, look at all this up here.
Yep.
That's cyberpunk, man. Cyberpunk builds up. Because chances are most of the land is, either toxic or B has already been cultivated, so they have to go up.
Yeah. And in my situation, I'm not even going to give away where it really is that the settings kind of based in.
You guys got to read the book to find out.
Yeah, even in the book, you won't necessarily find out for a while, but but you visually you get it. You know what I mean? But I don't tell you up front. But there's totally different sectors in this world, this city, this colony.
Dude.
And it's a beautiful thing to make it all work together.
Yeah, man. I love cyberpunk. It's one of my favorite genres. I don't necessarily want to live in a cyberpunk society, even though we seem to be steadily marching towards said thing. But I love cyberpunk as a genre of fiction to visit on occasion.
I was going to say my version of cyberpunk is not your typical. It's a little bit lighter, just like my cover. And just the whole vibe of Star Circuit is it's like not fully Saturday morning cartoons level. It's just one step. There's cursing, there's blood, there's a lot of things in this book that make it mature, and it's for mature readers. But just vibe wise, it's like the utopia almost was reached, is what I'm saying. Where most cyberpunk, it never gets close.
So yeah, that is an accurate way to describe cyberpunk. You want utopia? You want to nope. Got to be faster.
Right. You're like, oh, you wanted like something better? No, you
wanted technology to work for you instead of against you. Oh, yeah,
yeah,
exactly. But yeah, I like William Gibson, Neuromancer. I remember reading Neuromancer back in the day.
Well, dude, I've been waiting for because I always bring up Neuromancer is one of the biggest influences of my books.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
Love Neuromancer. Love Neuromancer in particular. His other books are good, and I still enjoy them. But Neuromancer is like,
I agree.
It's kind of like that gem within gems. It's like Dune. Yeah. It's like reading Dune versus reading the whole, Children of Dune and everything. Dune is just something special in its own.
I agree. It was kind of like he had such a clear vision of what Neuromancer was, and then kind of everything that came after that was trying to get back to that place. Mona Lisa, Overdrive, and Count Zero are both good books.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think Neuromancer is the best. I mean, I remember reading that. I listen to audiobooks. That's how I get my novels in.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember listening to that and just kind of being blown away. I'd never read anything like that before.
If you're like anybody who thinks like they know like what, I guess maybe just general fiction, like you have a sense of what fiction can be read like. You don't have no idea what Neuromancer reads like. It's some sort of, just like when you read Dune, it's kind of like in like a historical way. There's always those like passages, and it reads weirdly. Just like when you read Tolkien, it feels like some sort of, in some ways, especially Silmarillion, just like a historical documentation. Neuromancer just reads almost like this, like a future type of gritty and I don't know, a really affected person wrote this book. Like they're like the language is dry and yet really descriptive and really affects you in a different way.
I agree.
I think it's really dense. Every line is so dense.
Yeah, there's a lot that he packed into that because he had a lot to say about the world, where he saw it was heading and that kind of thing. So I agree, man. I fully agree. Did you ever read Transmetropolitan by Warren Ellis and Derek Robertson?
I feel like it's on the list. It's either I read an excerpt or like obviously have it on the list, but I don't think I read it in full. No,
it's good. It's one of my favorite comic series of all time, and it is very much a cyberpunk type story. But picture a cyberpunk future that's a little more grounded, a little more close to home. But you've got a journalist, Spider Jerusalem, that is basically like the futuristic Hunter S. Thompson.
Okay.
And just him like basically going after all of the the scumfuck politicians and people that take advantage of other people, and he's a misanthropic asshole quite often, but there are times when you get a hint of like the fact that he actually does care about the people in the city. He used to write a column called "I Hate It Here." And for the newspaper, the feed, it's a really. I think you would get a lot out of it. Honestly, I think you would dig it. It's really well written. Derek Robertson does a fantastic job on the pencils. Rodney Ramos doing the inks, and of course Warren Ellis, writing. I'm a big fan of Warren Ellis. I enjoy his work. I like the way he puts a little bit of his futurism into things, kind of giving a projection of what could possibly be in the future. It may not be for everyone, but his irreverent, British sensibilities, I think, translate well. Yeah.
Yeah. I for sure have flipped through it. Either digital. I got a feeling it's digital. Otherwise I would have it somewhere. Yeah, it must be on Comixology or something.
It is. It definitely is. So yeah, highly recommend. Highly recommend.
Cool.
Will says the spice must flow, and StreamYards isn't showing it, but I think Feline put a worm down there, for the Dune. But yeah, love cyberpunk as a genre, and I think you're doing something unique with it here. Because I can't think of any books out there currently that are doing like, well, one, racing, and two, futuristic sci-fi racing.
There's I met one guy on Twitter. He's working for somebody on Small Press, and he's got he's pretty much has some version of racing, but car racing. And it should be out this summer, but it's not out yet. So until his book's out, I don't think I've seen any that is.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, I know that manga over in Japan, they've got all kinds of different racing stories. I know the first one I can think of off the top of my head is Initial D. That's I think the most popular one, but I know that they do all kinds of different things, and manga they've got something for everybody. And, over here, we've kind of pigeonholed comics and, it's got to be about superheroes and stuff like that. No, it really doesn't. It can be about anything. It's a genre of story. It's a vehicle for storytelling, pure and simple. They did romance comics back in the day. They did Western comics back in the day. You can do all-out sci-fi comics. You can do horror comics. I mean, anything and everything that you want to tell a story about, you can do with comics.
I've been wondering, I've been wondering about that, like in general with indie comics. How many people? I almost want to see a large scale poll of like, what genres do you usually buy from? Because I'd like to know how many sci-fi comic readers are out there. You know what I mean? Just in general.
For sure.
It'd be really interesting to see like, even in the indie sphere, 60% only buy superhero comics. You know what I mean?
Right.
That'd be interesting.
What's up, Paul dear? Good to see you, sir. Welcome. I pick up the same genre of comics as the books that I pick up. I love sword and sorcery, fantasy type stuff. I love sci-fi, specifically cyberpunk. I'm always looking for new cyberpunk stories to read. You ever read Altered Carbon? I know they did a Netflix series based on it.
Yeah, it's in my I'm using the public library audio app now, and it's on hold.
Yeah, dude. Awesome. That's how I got all those books, audiobooks. That's how I get my novels in. I mean, I've got such a backlog of comic books to read, and they're a visual medium. You got to look at a comic book to read it. A book, on the other hand, if I'm gonna sit down with something in my hands that I got to look at and physically read, it's gonna be a comic book. I will listen to an audiobook because I can listen to that while I'm working on my comic, while I'm doing the dishes, while I'm mowing a lawn, something like that. So yeah, that's the only way I can get novels in is audiobooks. And a skilled narrator can elevate an audiobook.
There's one. What's the best one you've heard? Because I got a couple that I can recommend.
I really like the Altered Carbon audiobooks. Those are really good.
Cool.
Yeah. The thing that I'm thinking of specifically is Neil Gaiman's Anansi Boys. The narrator of that book, and I can't remember the dude's name, but the way he portrayed all of those characters just really made the story come alive for me. I'm not sure that I would have gotten as much out of the book. I mean, I love American Gods. George Goodell, who read the original American Gods audiobook, did a fantastic job. I'm not sure that I would have gotten as much out of Anansi Boys if the narrator had not been as skilled as he was. It's a good book, but I don't know. It made it come alive for me. Another one I'm thinking of is the Sandman Slim series by Richard Kadrey. What is his name? McLeod Andrews does the narration for the Sandman. It's urban fantasy, but it's like dark, gritty, like kick you in the face urban fantasy. Yeah.
There's there's two that come to mind. One I'm blanking on, and I'll look it up while I mention the first one. Have you read the books? Now I'm blanking on the trilogy name, but the first book's called The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie. I think it's called the First Law trilogy.
Yeah, I've heard of those. I've actually, somebody has recommended that I check those out.
Dude,
okay,
if you're gonna read them, get the audiobook. The guy who does the audio, it's by far the best audio I've heard.
Excellent.
Similar to what you described with I forgot the first one you mentioned, where like the characterization and just like the not just changing of voice, but changing of pacing and changing, like it really does feel much more like he's got like 10 guys back there in the sound booth. And now you're just
love that.
Yeah, it just has that kind of like radio play opera type of thing.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, really great stuff. And plus the story is right up your alley too, because it's kind of like a grounded, like warrior fantasy kind of thing. Really, really kind of a dark gray type of moral thing that, it's not like everything's kind of like Game of Thrones, where everything's kind of a little bit gray.
Okay.
Great stuff.
All right. The blade itself.
Yeah, the blade itself, great stuff. The other one's a cyberpunk book, and I've read a lot of it, not with audio, and then recently I checked out the audio of the first few chapters, and he did a great job. I don't know why I'm blanking on him now. It's like one of the most famous ones. It's here. So Snow Crash. There we go.
Oh yeah, actually, I actually just finished that recently. Snow Crash.
Nice. Yeah.
Neil Stevenson.
Yeah.
Yeah. One of my customers at the comic shop when I was still working there told me that I should check that out. I liked it. There's some stuff in it where I'm just like, huh. But it was supposed to be kind of a little tongue in cheek. Exactly. Almost a parody in certain spots of cyberpunk. I mean, the main character's name is Hero Protagonist. Yeah. So
and he's just that first chapter sells you on that tongue in cheek, like over the top. This is America.
The pizza delivery guy.
Yeah.
Got to drive to the different corporate sectors.
I know. When he drives, he doesn't just drive; he kills you on the way. He's like it's ridiculous. It's over the top.
It is. And then the street surfers with their skates and their harpooning, man. Yeah. I definitely recommend people check out Snow Crash, especially if you're a big fan of cyberpunk, just because it is kind of like that over the top parody, but it's still got a lot of really good story in there. Like towards I guess the back half of the book I enjoyed more than anything else, because it really kind of got into its story, and it had a pretty satisfying conclusion. And there's a lot of stuff that he talks about in that book that is kind of prescient for our day and age, especially with like the virtual reality and shit like that. You know, jacking into the net. The consensual hallucination that is the World Wide Web, basically, and virtual worlds and stuff. I mean, it sounds some of his descriptions sound kind of primitive, but it was written back in like the early '90s, so they were seeing the future from very far away.
Dude, that perception of what the future is going to be like is so interesting from the old school stuff. That's why I like the old anime, because they have that same perception. You're like they're flying in space, but they're still using like analog switches and everything.
That retro futurism.
Yeah, it's great. I really adore that kind of stuff. And a lot of different things never. I feel like you don't need to go beyond that as long as you have the characters there but I'm gonna probably have to finish Snow Crash now that I know the second half's the better half.
Oh yeah, dude. Good. I didn't ruin anything. Okay.
No, you didn't. I don't think so.
Wait, what did I say about it? I didn't spoil anything, did I? Yeah, no. I think you'll be satisfied with the conclusion of the book. There's, like we said, it's parody, so there's definitely some goofy stuff in there, but overall, I think the second half of the book is the better half of the book.
Okay.
But Hero kind of comes into his own, and maintaining that level of over the top throughout the entire story. I can understand how it would be difficult for an author, because you're actually trying to tell a story. You're trying to make a cohesive narrative, and that opening chapter, like you said, it is just literally just way over the top. It is every cyberpunk trope like ever, mixed with a harsh criticism of American lifestyle choices.
It's brilliant. I think even if you don't read the book, just read that chapter. You'll have fun.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we've been going for about an hour 15 now, man. I think you've got a fantastic book here. I'm excited for people to get a hold of this. People, if you can, if you got to scratch, grab yourself a Willis original cover. It's a beautiful image. And if you can't do that, maybe grab an original page.
And you get the books too. I mean, not that it's pennies on top of the money amount for the cover, but you do get the cover with it. So I thought that would be cool to get the art with the cover. That
100%, man.
That way you can compare. It's never.
Like doing. Yeah. That way they're not just buying original art. They're also getting the story, and they can be invested in the story as well.
Right. I can't imagine there would be any type of person that would do the opposite. Yeah,
a lot of people do like just original art around.
It's a good point. But yeah, I'd hope you to dive in. You're right over the fully synced one. This is the one where that's everything on the campaign is right there, including an original piece of a sketch card. So if you want some
there you go.
Cheap, that's the way to go.
Yeah. Well, I mean, see that way you can get all of this cool stuff and a little bit of original artwork. That's awesome, man. It's a beautiful looking book, man. And
thank you, dude.
The variant cover, and I just want to point out for everybody, if you get the featured tier, which means you get the first book and the main cover of the second book, you're getting a deal on both those books because the new book here is $28, and you're essentially getting both 1 and 2 for $20. I mean, you can't go wrong with that.
Yep. And it's going to be to combine it's well over 100 pages, so it's just, man, getting that kind of page count is nice when you get a nice a crowdfunded book, when you get it in the mail, because you waited so long to get it, and now sometimes when they're small books, you're like, oh man, I wish I could sink my teeth and
right.
Get a little bit more.
I waited a long time, and now it's all done already. Well, shit. Yeah. No, I hear you.
It happens
man.
A lot.
Unfortunately. But I mean, it does take a long time to produce comic books, especially when you're going for quality. Mm-hmm. That was what I was going to ask. November 2024. That's when you're looking to fulfill.
Yeah, I'm not doing the fulfill. I've got RJ over at Critical Blast doing it with
us.
So another lesson learned. But with that in mind, I'm planning on the book being done and printed for the holidays and out to you guys. That way you'll be cozy next to your fire if you're in the north.
Man. Heck yeah. And that means you guys don't have to wait long to get this book. All right. Right. So is there anything else you want to say about Star Circuit before we wrap this one up?
Well, Star Circuit 2 is everything that I've wanted to see. Just like you said about YouTube videos, it's everything that I've wanted to see myself in another book, and I just haven't found it. It's one of the reasons why I made it. And making it continuously. But yeah, I really appreciate anyone who's backed already. And if you're interested, there is a free preview on the page, just slightly below the top by the blurb section. And read the free preview. I guarantee this book reads well. There's a good amount of high praise for chapter 1, and chapter 2 is better from everything my editors say.
Heck yeah. Making the editors happy, they're your first reader, so they're they're the last line of defense to make sure everything is coherent and going to be fun for the readers. All the links are in the description of this video. Go check out Joe's YouTube channel, especially if you're curious about making comics and want to see some of the process stuff. He's got great videos. Follow him on X or Twitter or whatever the hell you want to call it. It's the Twix site. But yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Joe, thanks for coming to hang out, man.
Dude, and Luke, it's great hanging with you, man. You're a great guy.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It's you were one of the first people I had on this show, and it's awesome having you come back, man. And remember, everybody.
I'm glad you're doing a lot of the YouTube stuff. It's important because it helps everyone. It helps, Hey, man, you become a way better speaker too. I don't know what you were like before, but I think you're better now. I think.
Well, I have fun doing this, man. It's fun to talk to people, and that's part of the reason why I still do this show, is because I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy talking, getting insights to other people's thought process, their creative process.
Yeah.
So thank you, man. I really appreciate that. You're always welcome to come back and talk about more stuff, man.
Cool. And I'll swing by and be around, and maybe one of these Tuesdays I'll be able to join you for a draw sesh.
Absolutely.
That'd be great.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. And remember,
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.